I had made a video some time back where I was focusing on planted aquarium trimming techniques. Feedback that came to us was that the actual trimming process was shot in a fast forward mode rather. So the details of the trimming process was not very clearly visible, and there was this request to make a detailed trimming video. Now we have this Dutch aquarium that we have set. Plants have now grown, quite, and it's kind of looking rather haphazard. So this is the time that we must trim the plants. And I thought that let me take this opportunity to share some more details about planted aquarium trimming. So this video is the second part of the series in the planted aquarium trimming techniques. Anything that you do in life needs planning. So like that, when you start trimming, or rather before you start trimming, you must plan the final aquascape and plan the trimming process. Okay. Now we wanted to make this a standard V-shaped scape. So I'm drawing this line, just as a reference. It's actually not needed for the trimming process, but you must keep this in mind. So our focal point is somewhere here, right? And we have placed the Rotala macaranda mini butterfly at that position, so it should get some focus. And what we will do is that we will do the trimming so that the final plant shape looks maybe something like this. Okay, something like this. Okay, so when I start the trimming, I must keep this final shape in mind. Okay, that's why I have drawn these two lines. Trimming equipment is very important for cutting the plants in the right shape. Now in the part 1 of the video, I have talked about some of the characteristics of a good trimming scissor. Okay, it's not necessary that you have to start with so many scissors. Okay, while each of them has got a utility, but when you start your planted aquarium journey, you must have one good trimming scissor. Now there are a lot of good trimming scissors. How to choose a good trimming scissor, some points I have covered. I use my ADA tools, okay, which I have found by far to be the best trimming tools available for different trimming types. Okay, I will use some of the scissors in this tank. Now before I start the trimming, I want to emphasize on an extremely important point that many of us forget. Okay, what is that? The first trim, this is the first time I am trimming the plants. Okay, the first trim has to be at the lowest level. Let me give an example. If I trim the plant here, you can see my scissor, it's here. What will happen? The branching will start happening from here. It will not look good, right? So my first trim has to be at the lowest level, so the bushiness of the plant develops. Okay, this is a very, very, very important point. So let's start the trimming. Starting with the HM. As I said, I am trimming them at the lowest level, but I am trying to keep the the contour or the shape of the final, the way I want them to grow, that in mind. So the height of the plants little in the back is kept slightly higher. Okay, the fronts are I am trimming it slightly more. And other thing you might have noticed that I am using a long scissor. Okay, for a short tank it is more practical to use a long scissor. So if you can see that I am keeping the slight difference in the height, but I am still trying to cut them at the lowest point as much as possible. Another important point on the trimming scissor is the balance of the scissor. You can see it's quite a long scissor. Trimming, you see, takes a lot of time, so it puts stress here. So the balance and the weight of that scissor should be such that it doesn't put lot of stress on this part. Okay, that is why you must choose good trimming scissor. I will mention once again, as you grow in the hobby, you can buy more scissors, but at least start with one good trimming scissor. That's very, very important. Brand choice, I leave it to you. This side the trimming is over. You can see that I have trimmed these side slightly lower, okay, much lower than this side. This is intentionally I did it because I want to give light to the Rotala HRS here, okay. These poor plants are not getting enough light and they are not able to grow. So I intentionally trim the Rotala macaranda greens a little more on this side so that these plants can get some more light. I'll start on this middle portion now. Now there are some Amania senegalensis which I will not trim because they were not getting enough light. So I have to be careful that I don't trim them now, let them grow a little bit and then. So let me concentrate on the Rotala macaranda mini butterflies. So this again is a center. So we will trim them from front to back, slight tilt from front to back, keeping in mind that the trimming is done at the lowest portion to make them more bushy, right? A very simple thing. This is very, very important. First trim, the first cut has to be at the lowest point. Now I will start the rightmost portion, again starting here at the very bottom, but then the cut will now go from this to this. So slight elevation on the right. I need to keep that in mind, slight elevation. I have to now trim the right side, and for that I have to use my left hand. In planted aquarium, you may have to use both your right and left hands, right? So I have trimmed both sides. I will now trim the front portion. Now to trim moss, I will be using a different scissor. I will be using the ADA spring scissor. You know, the spring action is very important, like you can see, because trimming moss has to be done very fast. So this kind of a spring action. So ADA has been a pioneer in planted tank, and they thought about this scissors. Okay, it comes very handy to trim moss. It is very important that we clean the moss cuttings. Okay, so we are using a very narrow diameter pipe to take out the moss cuttings. Otherwise, they will start growing all over the substrate. And the other thing is that it has a lot of algae, so we are trying to remove as much of moss cuttings as possible. I will do a slight trimming of the Monte Carlos also, and for that I am going to use this curved scissor. So trimming the bed plants, this curved scissor is very helpful, so that you can trim it straight parallel to the surface without putting too much stress on your hand. Finally, the trimming is over. As I explained in the beginning, you need to keep the final tape in mind. I had drawn that, and accordingly I have tried to trim the plants. As I told, the first cut has to be at the lowest level, and that's what we have done. Few things after trimming, because the plants are cut, they are under stress. So reduce the fertilizer levels a little bit. Okay, that's point number one. Point number two, as the fertilizer has been reduced, also reduce the CO2 levels because the plants may not be able to take up all the nutrients. That's point number 2. The other and one thing that we do here is that though we use a very good scissor, okay, so that the plant tissue damage is the minimum, but still there is a damage, and to make the plants grow and to give them relief, okay, we use a hormone called ADA green gain. Okay, this green gain will distress the plants and also help them rebuild their tissue so that new shoots can come out fast. Okay, so that's, I think, all about the second video on plant trimming. Okay, as I always say that it has been our endeavor to make good videos to make your planted aquarium journey more fulfilling, and if you like our videos, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel Ripple's Nature Inspired Aquarium. Thanks for watching.